باب استحباب عزيمة المسألة للداعي إذا دعا. The recommendation of being resolved when supplicating. This means when you make dua with firmness, with resolve. Al-Bukhari, Muslim, and others narrated from Abu Hurairah that he said, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا يقل أحدكم اللهم اغفر لي إن شئت اللهم ارحمني إن شئت اللهم ارزقني إن شئت ليعزم مسألته فإنه يفعل ما يشاء لا مكره له. When you are supplicating, when one of you is supplicating, do not say, "Oh Allah, forgive me if you willed. Bestow your mercy on me if you willed. Provide for me if you willed." Let one be firm in his request. لِيَعْزِمْ مَسْأَلَتَهُ. For Allah does what He wills. Indeed, He does what He wills. لَا مُكْرَهَ لَهُ. No one can force him to do anything. Yes. So, there you go. That's how you're going to make dua. You're just going to make dua with firm resolve and believing that Allah will answer your dua for you. Yes. And if you make dua for someone else, also have in your heart that Allah makes the benefit reach the one that you pray for. Al-Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawood, and others narrated from Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu that he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, يستجاب لأحدكم ما لم يعجل فيقول قد دعوت فلم يستجب لي. The supplication of one of you will be granted if he does not grow impatient and says, I supplicated, but it was not granted. This so means you're going to be patient. Make dua, and maybe it's going to happen not exactly when you hoped it would happen. Rather, it's going to happen when, right when you needed it. That one that you were disappointed that you didn't get it sometime when you asked for it. And then when you got it, it was right on time. From Allah's mercy. باب ما يرجى عمله لإجابة دعاء. What to do for supplications to be answered. Muslim, Ahmad, and others narrated that Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu reported the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam as saying, Ya ayyuhan nas, O people, inna Allah tayyib. Allah is tayyib. That means for Allah clear from imperfections and defects. لا يقبل إلا طيبا. And he therefore accepts only that which is tayyib. And tayyib here means lawful. So the word tayyib itself loosely means good, nice. And like this. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى أَمَرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِمَا أَمَرَ بِهِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And Allah did indeed command the believers as he commanded the messengers. يَا أَيُّهَا الرُّسُلُ كُلُوا مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَاعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا إِنِّي بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ. Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah 51. It means, O messengers, eat of the tayyib, the halal, and do good deeds. Certainly, Allah knows all that you do. So that's a command for the messengers. The Prophet says, Allah commands the believers as he commands the messengers. And he produced the ayah that proves what he's saying is true. Well, it would be true anyway, just because he said it. And Allah said, yani, couple that verse with this one. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم. The 172nd verse of Surah Al-Baqarah. O those who believe, eat the lawful that Allah provided you with. The Prophet ﷺ then mentioned a type of person. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned a type of person, he travels widely. His hair is unkempt, messy, and he is dusty. So, yani, scruffy. Lifting his hands to the sky. Oh Lord, oh Lord, that means making dua. But his food is unlawful. His drink is unlawful. And his clothes are unlawful. And his nourishment is unlawful. How then would he be answered like that? That's what the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam. So you want accepted dua, then you're going to avoid being like this one. Food lawful only. Drink lawful only. Clothing lawful. And everything else. Also, your house lawful. Your money lawful.
Wa
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I understand about the lawful part. But when you explain that to somebody, say, want everything lawful, clothes, food, home, money, lawful. Can you go in depth with what you mean about that?
Yes. You're welcome. It means that if a person has in his belly haram food, or even if it's not right at the moment, it's in his belly, but he eats haram food, so that's how he has been nourished. His flesh and his hair has grown from haram, like he eats haram meat. And his clothing is haram. The clothing he wears is haram because, for example, he has haram money. So when he buys clothing, it's haram. Could also have haram clothing by stealing it. Also, haram clothing includes wearing the clothing of the opposite gender. You be careful there. Some of those sports jerseys, are they for men and women? Allahu Alam, be careful there. And like that, the drink is lawful. not from haram money, and not uh, intoxicating drink, not a stolen drink, then inshallah ta'ala it's more likely that your dua will be answered because of the purity of your situation.
Okay.
Yes?
Uh, Another part about the haram. When you tell somebody that in English, and you explain what the haram in English, tell them unlawful. A lot of times I speak to people, and I tell them this, the part that's what haram means. I say unlawful. They think that unlawful means these man-made laws, or I'm saying lawful, these man-made laws. And I have to explain that to them. No, I'm talking about the laws that God told you to do, not to do. That's the laws I'm talking about, not man-made.
Yeah, sometimes you need to clarify that for a person. That what's meant here is the real laws, not laws that men made. Men do not, humans do not have the right to make laws. Very important. Uh, how would a human think he has the right to make a law? As if he doesn't believe in God. As if. I'm not saying if somebody believes humans can make laws, he doesn't believe in God, but it's as if, because how he didn't think, what's the law of God? Or he might believe that there's a God, but God never made any laws. He just created us and just left us to do whatever we want to do. So we're going to make our own laws. Still bad conviction here.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. You said, how do I explain the difference between saliva and mucus when discussing the nullifiers of fast? If it were me, I'd say saliva is known. Maybe you'd say to a person, mucus means snot, or what's like snot, and phlegm, snot and phlegm, as opposed to the saliva. And saliva is known what that is. It's two different substances. I mean, there's mucus that comes down from your head into your, down from your head. That's the snot. And there's phlegm that can come up from your chest. Both of those, you cannot swallow them down. If they are in your mouth, you cannot swallow them. Okay. باب ما يقول بعد الفراغ من الوضوء. What to say after completing wudu. Muslim narrated in the Sahih, as well as others, that Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, ما منكم من أحد يتوضأ فيبلغ أو يسبغ الوضوء None of you performs wudu properly as he was ordered. And then ثم يقول, and then says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. Stop there. وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. That's easy, inshallah. Ashhadu. Just make sure you don't say ashhadu, not ashhadu, 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 not like this. Ashhadu, no. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, or أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Don't miss that hat at the end there. ورسوله. I testify that there is no God except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is his slave and messenger. So the Prophet said, none of you performs wudu properly, and then says, But that the 8 gates of the garden are open for him. إِلَّا فُتِحَتْ لَهُ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ الثَّمَانِيَةِ يَدْخُلُ مِنْ أَيِّهَا شَاءَ. But that the 8 gates of the garden are open for him, entering through whichever he desires. Yani, whichever he wants. Just this much. So even more was narrated. You probably know what to say after wudu. Longer than this was narrated. But this also is amongst what was narrated. So even this much after you make your wudu, don't skip it. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Who's the author of this text? What reached me is that Sheikh Nabil compiled this and then read it on the Sheikh. He said, should the G be capital? In God? I say not necessarily, because the word ilaha in Arabic here is indefinite. Indefinite. Like, if you single out this word ilah only, then it's going to be God with a small g. If you put al on the front, say al ilah, then it's going to be God with a big G. You said, you mentioned in one of your classes you can make dhikr in your heart. I also heard another teacher say, if dhikr is not said loud enough for oneself to hear, it is not counted. Then he's talking about the dhikr of the tongue, though. If what he's saying is true, he's not talking about the dhikr of the heart. Does saying dhikr in the heart count towards a wird, or is it something that is permissible for the purity of the heart, or both? So both of them are dhikr, but dhikr of the tongue has special merit over dhikr of the heart. So if you want to do dhikr, like what all these things we're going over, you're not going to just do it in your heart only. You're going to say it with your tongue. But when we say dhikr of the heart is rewardable, it means, for example, if you were just in the bathroom, even at the moment relieving yourself, and just in your heart, you're saying Subhanallah and La ilaha illallah, this is rewardable. Or in some other situation where you are in your heart remembering Allah, this is rewardable. That doesn't replace saying something, one of these formulas that the Prophet told us to say, alayhi salatu wassalam. Ameen wa fiq. And that's the only thing that's there, and we should stop here. What else do we have, by the way? What to say when entering and leaving the mosque? What to say when in line for prayer? Rush to get to that front line, by the way. The believers compete in the good deeds. If you left a gap open in the front line, and you're sitting right there, and you said, okay, when they make a call, I'm going to stand in that spot. And then someone came and sat in that spot right there. Khalas, don't be mad. You were slipping. Any last question? You said, isn't this my copy? This is my copy. Yeah, I didn't translate this though. My copy here means with my changes. May Allah reward the brother who translated this. Rahimahullah. Yes, competition in the good deeds. Yes, for sure. So somebody's going to beat you to the adhan. Somebody's going to beat you to the front row. Or somebody's going to beat you to some other good deed. Ameen wa iyyakum. So how is giving the adhan better than leading the congregation? I didn't say that. Allahu alam. Haven't heard about it. But leading the congregational prayer is delicate, because sometimes you're not the best person to do it, and then it's going to affect, in reality, it will in reality affect the reward of the people's prayer. Although we're not seeing that, but it would in reality affect the reward of the people's prayer. So you're going to let somebody else lead the prayer. I mean, what iyakum, like you're having a bad day that day. I mean, you're a major sinner that day. Then let somebody else lead the prayer. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك